everyone, and welcome back to our channel. My name is Carla Garza, and I have career and recruitment experts, or as I like to call them, the job coaches, Jasmine, Sliger, and Elvira Lourenco with me today. Last year, we released some videos to help you get back on your feet after the COVID-19 pandemic hit. To prepare your resumes, how to write a cover letter, how to nail a job interview, all of those things. Basically, just to get out there in the hunt for your next job. Those videos were so successful that we decided to come back with this new series of videos called Career Transitions. So now I'll just let our job coaches to introduce themselves. How are you guys?
Really good, Carla. How are you?
Really good, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be working with you today again.
Yep, it's great to be back working with both of you. We were really successful last year, so we decided, the three of us, to do it again. So we're going to be talking about career transitions today, and I think one of the things that I might say is we should never be afraid to start over, because it's an opportunity to rebuild what you want, and it's also an opportunity to reinvent yourself. So by way of introduction, I will talk a little bit about myself, hand it over to Elvira, and then Carla to introduce herself as well. So as you can see from this slide, I'm a cross-cultural, organizational, and counseling psychologist. I've been a psychologist for several decades, or a few decades, not that several, I'm not that old, but yeah, for a few decades. And I've worked in companies. I've worked in many companies across many industries, as well as been a mediator and dealt with very serious conflicts at the workplace, as well as in families. I learned to speak English in the United States. English is my fifth language. I grew up in French Canada and the United States, and now I'm here in Australia. So it's a very interesting mix we have tonight, and it's purely by accident, I can assure you. And so I'll hand it over to my colleague, Elvira Lourenco.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. My name is Elvira Lourenco, and I was born in Portugal of multicultural parents. So my father is Portuguese, my mother was British. I came to Australia 35 years ago, and I have had a very interesting career with working for the Australian government in different postings overseas, particularly Asia. And I've also had the experience to work for the private industry in mining engineering, particularly in Latin America. So it has been an interesting career. It was not easy, but one of the things that was important is to actually know where you're headed and to keep going on that road, because the opportunities are always in front of you. Carla, over to you.
Thank you, Elvira. Well, I'm Carla Garza. I am originally from the beautiful city of Mexico City, very proud Mexican and Latin American woman. I am an economist, so I did my economics degree in Mexico, and I did a semester in France as well. And I discovered one of my passions when I went to France. So it's cultural exchange. I love meeting people from different cultures and just understanding and opening my eyes to this whole different ways of looking at the world and living in different ways. That's just really fascinating to me. So I've been fortunate enough as well to have lived in 4 different countries. So obviously my home country, Mexico, France, and I had the opportunity to go to Argentina to live for 6 months for a project. At the time I was working for Grupo Proesa as a strategic planning and business development analyst. That was an incredible experience. And now I've been living in Australia for the past 2 years, and I'm currently working at IAG, which is Insurance Australia Group, and I'm working as a reporting analyst. So basically I just do data analysis and strategic planning. That's mostly my background. And I decided, it's kind of funny because I decided to leave that major awards title in there, because I aspire to be like these women here, to have awards when the time comes and stuff. So yeah, they are an inspiration to me, and I think they will teach us a lot during these sessions.
Oh, that's very kind, Carla. That's very kind. I think one of the interesting things about this trio that you've got before you tonight is the fact that all of us adapted English as our last language. I learned to speak English when I was 9. English is my 5th language. So it's interesting that all three of us are interested in intercultural issues and cross-cultural issues, and it's just fascinating. Uh, the wealth of knowledge all of us have around culture. One of the things that we'll hand over now is I'll hand it over to Elvira. We'll talk a bit about who our audience is tonight.
Thank you, Jasmine. Great. So when we talk about our audience, we know that some of you will be students and you are here in Australia on a student visa, and you probably wish to stay in Australia and start working in your own career interest, or perhaps start a new career, as you may have the opportunity to do so here in Australia. In terms of graduates in Australia undertaking further study in a graduate degree in your field of interest at an Australian university, and you may be looking for a sponsorship, or you may already have a sponsorship in line of you being a graduate here in Australia, which is a great opportunity. I'll pass it over to Jasmine now. Thank you.
Yep, early career professionals is another reason we're here tonight, is to really talk about, the professional work experience that you're trying to enhance, seeking to either stay on the same path or finding a new career path. And also our wonderful entrepreneurs in this country. In Australia, being open to new business and beginning a new venture. I know myself, since I've been here, I've co-founded a couple of things, and it's been really delightful. It's been really a passion. And I'll hand over for our young career changer, Carla. Carla, you want to talk about career changes?
Amazing, of course. Thank you, Jasmine. But last but not least, career changes. So it doesn't matter if you are a chemical engineer. If you really want to do something else, and something else what makes you happy, you can change and go and work in the fashion industry. That is completely valid. And Jasmine once shared a stat with me that I'm not sure if you have with you right now, Jasmine, the amount of times in average that a person switch careers during their lifetime.
Oh, yes. 5 to 7 careers you can have in your lifetime.
There it is. So it's always valid to want to change.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Carla.
No worries.
So when we look at career transitions, we're looking at career transitions in different ways. So for example, being made redundant out of the blue, that can be really a shocking transition. And it's one that's not really in your control. So all the more reason to kind of really take care of yourself and be mindful of your experience, because you do have lifetime experience. The other, of course, is changing country, moving country, immigration, in terms of immigration. The other one, of course, is retirement, downsizing to retirement, and realizing that it's time to slow down. The other one is, of course, changing industries, career changing, and lifestyle changes as a result of having a new relationship and deciding that it's time to change your career. When we talk about career transitions, and in order to have a good career transition, really one of the things that's important to do is to audit your skills. And we always talk about, and we talked about this last year, is attitude, skills, and knowledge. What's your attitude like? Are you good in dealing with change? What skills do you have? Are your skills going to hold you up? Are they transferable? What's your knowledge base like? Will your knowledge add value to your next career? And you need to accept that you will participate in a career transition. And it can be very exciting and certainly um, opening your mind and your heart to many different things. The other thing we talk about as well is addressing the gaps. What additional training do you require? Do you need any extra education or qualifications, such as a certificate or diploma? Uh, can the gap be addressed by, say, a short course or a webinar? And also, could you use a mentor? So a mentor helps with career transition, especially if they are in your desired career industry. So a mentor is usually a senior person who is a subject matter expert. So we're really clear that identifying your gaps is really critical. Also, we look at how building your network, learning how to build a network. That's a really important thing because people usually just stick to the same network, and that really is not helpful to a career transition. So joining networks that are connected to or aligned with your career path. Also, seeking out opportunities to speak to people from other networks and engaging in discussions that interest you, and also having realistic expectations. So, it usually, we see a career transition usually lasting 6 to 12 months. Once you clearly understand what your career transition will look like, you need to do your research. And so, we hope to give you a model tonight that will really help you. And so I'll hand it back to my colleague, Elvira Lourenco.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. Very important information that you gave us, and certainly a good opening to how to map yourself for your career transition. And what we find in everyone's life, you have one interesting point is your work-life balance. One of them is your passion. You are passionate about something. However, you have to work with your life priorities. You have to balance that. And in respect to your passion and priorities, you will have to work with short-term goals and long-term goals. And the idea is that these four areas have common points or commonalities that actually map yourself forward to your career transition. In relation to this, what we have done is we have come up with an example tonight where we will actually discuss an example of a mapping career transition. There is no right or wrong with this, is what is relevant to you. And kindly, Carla has agreed to be the person for the example tonight, and she will explain how she's mapping her career transition. Thank you, Carla.
No worries. When Jasmine and Elvira asked me to do this exercise, I thought it was going to be easy, and it's actually not that easy because it's basically putting your whole life and your expectations, your goals, your passions in one sheet of paper, and it requires a lot of introspection and just looking in and what you really want. And I discovered a lot of things about myself by doing this. So I have a lot of passions, which is it is really a blessing. I get excited by a lot of things, but one of the main ones is building relationships and connections with people. That is completely, I think, my number one passion in life. And I've also been along the way discovering some other passions such as art. I love painting and creating stuff with my hands and being crafty. But I really also love personal development and growth. And I am really passionate, and I really admire people that have started their own businesses, and entrepreneurship is a really big passion of mine, and I aspire to that in the future, which is connected to my short and long-term goals, which I'll explain in a second. But we all have priorities as well, right? So my number one first priority in my life will always be my family. So first, my partner Jake, he's my number one. always. And then just my family, my parents and my brothers back home, my close friends. And also health is really important in my life. Work-life balance, it's always that I always look for when I want to work for a company. I always look that I can keep having a balance and being happy, because I believe your career should be the means to an end. So your career should be something that allows you to live happy, not living for your career, in my opinion. I guess some people would disagree, but that's my priority. So for my short-term goals, first of all, I'm looking to diversify my income. So I have my main job at IAG, but I've been looking of maybe having a side hustle or something, which could potentially connect with that dream of mine of starting a business. I'm also saving some money because in the long term, and that connects there, I want to own a house and maybe study a master's degree, which you need to save for as well. And also for my long-term goals, I really, really want to reach financial independence one day, meaning I don't have to worry about that. But for that, I know I will need to work for a while to reach that point. And just kind of tying everything up together, I see myself in the future having my own business, allowing me to travel, for instance, to go to Mexico and visit my family, and having that work-life balance and being able to work remotely. Um, and allowing me to be happy and having that financial independence, and maybe travel and do things, all the things that I'm passionate about. I forgot that one, actually, travel. I didn't put it in there. Unfortunately, it's not an option at the moment, but when it's an option, I'll be traveling more for sure. So that's a little bit about my map. So I can recommend to do it yourself. It was really insightful.
Thank you very much, Carla. So what we've done here is in the 4 areas that you saw before: the start a business, balance work life, diversify income, financial independence. They're the 4 commonalities for where Carla has told us that she sees herself having her own business, being financially independent, and being able to travel or work remotely as she wishes. What is your career transition? I suggest you use this exercise for yourself. So what do you need to work on to succeed? And I will pass it over to Jasmine.
Great. Thank you, Elvira. So what kind of traits or things should you be practicing, characteristics should you be trying to engage in for yourself? One of the things certainly is flexibility, willing to do freelancing, consulting, working on an internship, training, work. I know when I first came here 35 years ago, I was a telephonist in a company, in a mining company of all things. And the reason I was a telephonist is I couldn't be a secretary because I can't type. But it was an opportunity for me to see how business, which I love, I've always loved business, how business thrives in Australia. And I learned many, many interesting lessons. The other thing is developing routines, rituals, and habits that inspire you. So things like meditation, exercise, taking care of yourself. So designing good routines that build good habits. So also being able to deal with your strong emotions, such as grief, anger, sadness, relief, depression, anxiety, fear, and especially detachment from what you know is familiar. So if you've just been made redundant and you go and you get another job as a trainee somewhere in a different industry, it's important for you to kind of get stuck in there, as they say in Australia, and actually participate, get to know that network, get to understand that industry, really important. And also have time for reflection for yourself. Because one of the things we do know in psychology is reflection gives you insight, gives you awareness about yourself. And so the more you can gain insight, the more you see patterns, the more you see the big picture. So in essence, stop and take time for yourself. And as I always tell everybody, treat yourself exquisitely. So that's it for me. I'll hand it back to Carla. Thank you, Elvira and Carla, for your time tonight. And I'll hand it back to you, Carla.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Jasmine and Elvira, our job coaches. This session was incredible. I learned so much, and I'm sure the audience will learn a lot and will be inspired to do that introspective analysis and just think about their next step. So thank you very much for tuning in with us today. Please, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for any topics, please make sure you pop them into the comment box below, and we will be reading those and addressing those questions and suggestions in the next coming videos. And thank you and take care.